Welcome to The Zone. The Zone is a show dedicated to the world of HBCU sports and beyond. On The Zone, we have exclusive interviews from across the country. We discuss topics that others dare not touch. So join us for this week's episode of The Zone, presented by the Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas. You're listening to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics, Prairie View, Texas.
Hey, hey, hey. It's me, Donna G, on the MIC. Glad to be a part of the living, first of all, and then always here with my people. So, good looking out, and it's time to get started on the HBCU zone. Just want to add that in there since I know I talk about more than just the SWAC. So listen, guys, let's get to it. Let's cut to it. We got our baseball standings for the SWAC. And starting off on the east is Alabama State, 18-3. Florida A&M, 15-6. Bethune-Cookman, 12-7. Jackson State, 9-12. Mississippi Valley State, 6-17. Alabama A&M, 3-16. On the west side of the house is Grambling, 16-5. Texas Southern, 13-6. Prairie View, 13-7. Southern, 10-8. Arkansas Pine Bluff, 5-16. And Alcorn State, 3-19. All righty, let's see what we have for our SWAC softball. SWAC softball, they are still playing, although their championships are coming up soon, and we'll talk more about that. But on the east side of the house for SWAC softball is Alabama State, 17-7, and let's see. Alabama State is killing it in both areas. So awesome. Hats off and kudos to you, Alabama State. Next is Bethune-Cookman, 15-9. Alabama A&M, 13-10. Jackson State, 13-11. Florida A&M, 12-11. Mississippi Valley State, 1-23. Again, this is softball. On the west side, we got 22-2 with Prairie View. Grambling State is 16-8. Texas Southern is 12-12. Alcorn State is 11-14. Southern is 8-16. And Arkansas Pine Bluff is 3-21. Again, these are conference standings for softball. SWAC. Now, let's get to the MEAC. MEAC softball standings are as follows. We have Morgan State with 14-4. Norfolk State, 14-6. North Carolina Central, 12-7. Howard, 10-9. Coppin State, 9-11. Maryland Eastern Shore, 8-10. South Carolina State, 6-11. And Delaware State, 2-17. Awesome for softball. For the MEAC. Next, we'll have everybody's going into their championships now, so let's kind of dig into that. This weekend will be the MEAC Softball Championship. The 2023 MEAC Softball Championship. MEAC is May 10th through the 13th, 2023, at Norfolk State University Softball Field in Norfolk, Virginia. Again, that starts off actually next week. My bad. I'm sorry about that. Next week, May 10th, Wednesday, May 10th. All right, excellent. Let's see what we have. Now, last week, though, was the MEAC Tennis Championship. Last week was the MEAC Tennis Championship, and that was held in Gary Tennis Park, Cary, North Carolina, April 27th through the 29th. So that went on last week, and the South Carolina State men's won their championship. So congratulations to South Carolina State men's for winning your tennis championship. Let's move on. So I gave you the MEAC softball championship. The SWAC softball championship is coming up next week as well. It'll be May 9th through the 12th at the Gulfport Sportsplex in Gulfport, Mississippi. So make sure if you're near Gulfport, New Orleans, all that good stuff, you get a chance to stop by and support our softball tournament for the SWAC. Baseball tournament for the SWAC, again, is in Atlanta at McNeese Baseball Park, May 24th through the 28th. So they still have a couple of weeks to get playing and get their scores and stats up, so that's going to be exciting. Okie dokie. Definitely can go to SWAC.org to purchase tickets and get more information about any of these events or tournaments. It's going to be a very, very good look. Now, I also want to talk to you guys about, now this is not baseball. I'm sorry, it's not MEAC or SWAC related, but it's been some great basketball being played. Would you guys agree? I mean, serious business. I am very, very in awe and floored. And this is I hate to be like, this is the time of the year where you get the good stuff, you know what I mean? But the NBA playoffs have really been exciting to see. And if you haven't seen any, go watch it. Okay? Let's see what we had. Last night. Well, let's talk about starting Monday. Really Sunday, but anyway, we'll go to Monday, May 1. The Nuggets went over the Suns. Game 2, the Knicks went over the Heat. And on Tuesday, the Lakers went over the Warriors. I saw that game. It was very exciting and down to the wire for sure. Next was the Celtics over the 76ers. So that was last night. So that was, again, exciting. Celtics kind of whooped up on the 76ers a little bit. But today we have the Lakers and Warriors again in their game 2. And then the Celtics and 76ers play tomorrow. So, be checking that out. In addition to all of that, I almost forgot, and it just came back to my mind about the SWAC track stuff going on this weekend. So, the SWAC track and field championships, we already had the indoor stuff. But outdoor is going on this weekend at Prairie View A&M University. So I ask that if you are nearby, please come out. Please come out and check it out and see what's what and just support. You know what I'm saying? We want your support and need your support. So actually things get started out today. And let's see, they should have already started with the decathlon. Heptathlon is today. And a myriad of other events. So, again, check out SWAC.org. That should have the schedule for you for the weekend. The Outdoor Track and Field Championship. Okay? All right. Cool. Well, love you guys. It's been great. I've missed you again for this week, so look forward to talking with you You all have a great week. Thoughts and views of me do not reflect those of Mike Prince, Dr. Mike Prince, and the Mike Prince Show. Have a great one. Bye.
Welcome back to the show. Don't forget, you can always check out the Mike Prince Show Monday through Fridays. We try to have a new release for you between 7 and 7:30 a.m. daily. And, of course, Saturdays on the Zone. Try to have something ready for you between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9:15. We try. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but we do try to get it out there within that hour. And with the baseball season wrapping up like it is in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, it is really coming down to crunch time. And on Friday night, Prairie View began a 4-game series against Southern University. Now, normally they play 3 games, but due to weather, they had to make up an additional game. So Prairie View will be playing Southern on Friday night, then it would have been playing on Saturday, a doubleheader, and then conclude on Sunday. So on Friday night, Prairie View lost to Southern University by the score of 3-2. Now, Southern gains the ground on Prairie View and Texas Southern. Why? Because Texas Southern lost to Grambling by the score of 10-8. So now the Panthers find themselves still in a bit of a crux. They are now positioned to the number 3 seed, but they're number 3 seed, but slowly slipping if they can't get a grip with this weekend series against the Southern Jags. So they'll begin the doubleheader on Saturday and then conclude on Sunday. And we'll keep you posted on those games by way of Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. So everything is coming down to the crunch. Meanwhile, on the east side of things within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Alabama State has a series against Mississippi Valley. Now, Mississippi Valley is on the heels of possibly catching Jackson. Depends on how things would work. But right now, Alabama State is in the driver's seat, and they can wrap up the East with a win over Mississippi Valley in that series. So it is a whole bunch of going on. Meanwhile, FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, respectively, in the second and third slots. So it's just about solidified. And remember, Prairie View, coming back toward the west now, has a huge set of series remaining with Texas Southern and concluding with Grambling. So Prairie View still in the dark side of things if you look at it from a scheduling perspective. So they got to get through Southern this weekend to see how everything else will pan itself out. Meanwhile, the softball tournaments will begin on May 9th from Gulfport, Mississippi. Earlier I was saying Biloxi, Mississippi, so forgive me. I do know it was in Mississippi, but they're going to be in Gulfport, Mississippi, where the Panthers taking their number 1 seed from the West, concluding with a 22-2 conference record. And we got to tip our hats to them because for 12 consecutive years, Texas Southern had been winning the Western Division. 12 consecutive years. That's a long time to do anything consistently, in particular when you understand the playing surface conditions of Texas Southern. They do not have their own field. They play at a city park in Memorial, but they were able to maintain some excellence for 12 years. So congratulations to the Panthers for killing 2 birds with 1 stone, winning the Vest, dethroning the Texas Southern Tigers for the regular season championship. Now it's just a matter, can the Panthers hold strong with the softball tournament that begins on May the 9th? We heard from Coach Olin Parker. He's been giving his baseball updates and countdowns. We're going to be continually talking to him throughout the tournament and beyond. Of course, the baseball tournament starts on May 24th from Atlanta, Georgia, and we'll keep you posted with all of those and more right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We're going to take us a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how the portal gives and the portal takes away. Welcome back to the show. The radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, here with you on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Before the break, we talked about, at least in a teasing manner, on how the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. And if you keep up with any college sports right now, you know that the transfer portal and NIL has totally changed the landscape of college sports as we know it. As we do this session today, there are 3,252 football players that have hit the portal. 3,252. Needless to say, there are more in the portal than vacancies throughout the entire country. Now, the portal close-off date was this past week, but they can be there as long as they need to be there until they're claimed by another institution, which has really stirred the pot, if you would, when it comes to the transfer portal. The transfer portal is nothing but free agency for college football, and Prairie View has benefited from it. Other Southwestern Athletic Conference programs have benefited from it, not only from football, but from all other sports. So when you look at this, how the portal giveth and the portal taketh away, there are some penalties that one could have for taking on that portal project, if you allow us to identify it like that. Once a person has been picked up off waivers, if you would, they are now obligated to their new institution about graduation, because it's almost like picking up, and I don't want to use this term, but it's the only term that seems to fit, but it's like picking up some dead weight. For whatever reason, the person didn't work out where they originally had signed. Now they jump into the portal and they come back, and you have to play Mr. Rescue and pick this person up and hope that they fit not only schematically, but personality-wise, character-wise, academia-wise to your program, because your program will be the one that gets the ding. The rescue part comes is that you actually are sparing the program that they were originally tied to. Now, you said, I will take on that extra burden or that added risk. So you could win some and you could lose some. Everything that jumps in the portal is not a good thing. But the question is, does this transfer portal create a, let's say, lesser mentality on how to deal with competition? You know, I know that it's a different era, but competition is what brings out the best in all of us. And if you leave because you don't want to deal with the competition, or you feel that the competition is too much for you, then would I really want you to be a quote-unquote addition to my program, or would it be more of a subtraction to my program? So you have to be very careful on how you look at these portal situations. But nonetheless, the big news has been 52 to 71 student athletes have hit the portal just under Colorado's football program since the addition and arrival of Coach Deion Sanders. Now, if you understand the video that went viral, that Deion is bringing his own luggage and his Gucci or Louis, whichever it was, I forget, but that was to be expected. That was not the normal situation. On average, you might have anywhere between 5 and, worst case scenario, 12, 15 guys hit your portal, and then it's like a revolving door. So the question is, where will all this be leading in the very near future? And can it be, or will it ever be, rectified or regulated? And we do know whenever you start talking about regulations and things of that nature, you're trying to pull in the government, and is that something that you necessarily need? But time will tell. And another loose wire, if you would, has definitely got to be NIL. Now, I'm all in favor for NIL because you got to be able to be compensated, especially with a short window. And I've done some research, and the NIL deals can last as long as they're creatively designed, which means that, you got some guys who are making pretty good NIL deals and probably will never see a professional playing surface, but they're making their money now. And I am okay with that because so long these institutions have been compensated, overcompensated. How do you think these TV deals are coming right now? Because of the student athletes' talents, gifts, and labor, if you would. So that is an extraordinary good thing. But you got this two-headed monster with NIL and the portal, and it's about some mix and matches to get that balance just right so that you can have what we now know as college athletics. But we'll keep you posted on this and a whole lot more as these stories develop from coast to coast right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And welcome back to the Open Mic Broadcast Network. The radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, here with you. Do remind you guys that you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and our website is obnradio.com. And as we move into this segment, I want to remind us of an old saying that the more things change, the more things stay the same. We know that there is an entire new look right now when it comes to collegiate athletics. It is not the way things used to be or have been accustomed to for the past 50, 75 years or so. And what appears to be changing could really be making a full circle return. And we'll break that down in a little bit more detail right now. Of course, when we look at the top of the surface, there is always the big news that splashes, the Big Ten media deal, the SEC media deal, the tug of war going back between Pac-12 and Big 12 opponents and components as far as who's going to get the leverage, and the ACC struggles, or should we say stronghold, by ESPN. But when you look at the total package, things are changing right before our eyes. We know that sooner or later, the money has to come to a crescendo. You can no longer justify giving all the enormous amounts of money that has been laid out over the recent years when it comes to just select few media deals. And as a result, the Pac-12 has been struggling right now, trying to establish whom and when will their product be redispersed amongst its potential listeners. And as we look further into this, there are some sleight of hand moves that are being made that for the most part are going under the radar. We reported a couple of weeks back in March, early April, about the move of the CW, and people snickered, laughed, pointed their fingers, but it's all going to start making sense in a moment. CW, of course, has been known for its off-the-grid type programming, its DC-related programming, and other demographics which they're more geared toward women in their programming. But all that has taken a slight change, and it started with Live Golf. Yes, Live Golf is the big bad boogeyman in the room of athletics right now. But when you look at it, you have to start somewhere. And with Live becoming part of the CW package, CW began to experiment, if you would, on how they could further broaden their sports packaging. And they began some conversations with the Pac-12. Now, it's still out to be determined on whether or not the CW will be a part of the official package when it comes to the Pac-12, but they've got the ball in motion, which opens up a wide array of opportunities that could develop. Now, if we look at what's already been somewhat accounted for, you have the Big 12, which is tied up with Fox, ESPN. You have the Big 10, which is tied up with Fox. You have the SEC, which is tied up with Fox, ESPN, and the ACC, which is tied up with Fox. And the way things are pointing right now, if we could read the tea leaves, it appears that Pac-12 will be solidifying a deal somewhat in the near future, who knows, with Apple TV and or Amazon streaming services, in addition to a potential local regional touch, which leads to the latest rumblings, if you would, out of Phoenix, between the Phoenix Suns and I believe they're the Phoenix Mercury WNBA basketball program. The owner of those institutions, or should I say programs or organizations, however you want to identify it, they are looking into providing over-the-air free broadcast opportunities for its fan base, which means they will not get the big pockets of the now defunct regional sports network, but they will get something in return for a much broader distribution piece by going local. And this model is really nothing new. It's returning back to the original landmark on how things once upon a time used to be. And with the latest reports that have been shared with Awful announcing on the lackluster performance of ESPN Radio, CBS Radio for that matter as well. In fact, the number one leading sports radio would be Fox Sports Radio. So what is the solution? What will be the saving grace of collegiate and, for that matter, professional sports? And that is the return to local broadcasting, local input. There is much money being made, but there's also false money being made. A lot of these companies have committed to these big paydays, but when it comes time to dash out, pass out the cash, they don't have it. So as a result, litigation becomes a part of the factor, and you're spending good money after bad money trying to recoup money that was never there to begin with. So what's the answer? Returning back to the local scene of crime. And when we look at the return of local broadcasting, you look at the multiple layoffs that are in the sports media industry, not just ESPN, but the sports media industry. It is going to create a wealth of opportunities for some independent broadcasting networks to pop up real soon. And you're going to see a lot of a local resurgence coming back to save athletics as we see it today. So the question is, Are you ready for the return of local? I think it's about time. Let us know what you guys think. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. You can always reach out to me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. You can leave comments on our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Or you can dig a little deeper, if you would, and send us an email to ombnetwork@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of The Zone. The Zone is a production of the Open Mic Broadcast Network located in Prairie View, Texas. If you would have questions, comments, or concerns about The Zone or anything pertaining to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, feel free to visit our website at obnradio.com and submit your contact information.